We're back. We are back, everybody. Welcome back to the Fandalorian Club. I probably scared the daylights out of so many people, but I don't care.
Blew out speakers.
Star Wars is back. Welcome back, everybody. It is our Star Wars review show here on Apocalypse Movies. I'm your host, Jake Berlin, and welcome to the Fandalorian Club. If you've never joined us before, thank you so much for joining us. To everyone who has joined us before, welcome back. We are very, very excited to be returning to the world, or to the galaxy, I should say. As Andor has finally premiered, we finally have a brand new Star Wars property to talk about. And as usual, I'm joined by Mr. Brian Avlicino as we are talking Andor for the next 9 weeks. 9 weeks, 12 episodes, 9 weeks. Brian, how you doing, man?
Good. Can't wait till we have more friends that get to talk with us. But for now, I think you and I will do.
Don't say anything just yet in case we disappoint people.
I'm sorry. I'm excited. I think this is going to be one of the most fun shows to talk about because I think just from what we've seen so far, like I haven't heard a negative thing said once. So I would love to hear Jacob's position on it so far, Gio, Keith, people we know. But yeah, I'm loving it so far. Can't wait. But yeah, you and I will do.
I mean, I hope so. It's what people are here for right now, our 5 viewers. And look, we're going to be diving into all 3 episodes from Andor today. It was premiere day, and there is a reason why they dropped all 3 at once, clearly. We're going to be talking about them all. It won't be directly like episode by episode. It's definitely going to be a little bit of a zigzag conversation because there's a lot of things that blend into others. And it may not be as direct and like straight as we usually are talking about an episode because there are 3 to talk about. But we will get back on track as we get 1 episode per week starting next week. But to start things off, I will just ask, and I'll join in the conversation, obviously. Brian, look, this show has been talked about for a very long time. It is finally here. We got 3 episodes. What is your initial impression, reaction, and opinion of everything Andor?
That this is Star Wars. Like, this is Star Wars. It's amazing. I'll wake up early to watch like the She-Hulk episodes or whatever we're watching, and like even Marvel stuff. Like I'm like groggy, just like barely remember the episode. I woke up at 5:00 this episode, or 5:00 this morning to watch this episode, earlier than I ever do. And I was like wide awake within like 5 to 10 minutes, if that. And it didn't stop. Like when it ended, the first episode, I went, holy crap, that was 40 minutes. Like this thing flew. The pace is perfect, catches you, and it just moves. I was like, okay, like cool. I'm excited for it. This is good. This is already beyond anything I thought was good. Like I expected like good to great. This is amazing. Like, and it's just, you can tell. We'll get into it, but holy smokes. This might be the most Star Wars thing I've felt since I was little. Like this is 2000s prequel Star Wars, in my opinion. Like I feel like you get a whole different feel from the original trilogy. You get that like older nostalgic feeling. You get like the new feel with all of the sequel like type stuff. This feels like prequel, our era. And it comes, I don't know if it comes off of Obi-Wan because it was the same thing, but like I felt like I did when I was a little kid watching, little kid, teenager, whatever you want to call it, watching Star Wars. And I haven't felt this way for any of the new stuff, except for maybe a little bit of Obi-Wan. Even Obi-Wan kind of gave me that new feel. This feels like the prequels.
This feels like the prequels?
Like that air, like that, like the quality, that era, that like, just, I don't know. I get a very much that feeling I got when I watched those movies. Maybe it was just like the allure of like, oh my God, look at this. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I just a very much a feeling that I got when I first watched those movies as the church bells go off.
No, that's fine. I think it's weird because I agree, but I also do disagree in the fact that like this is obviously Star Wars. Like it's very Star Wars in the sense of
I'll say political. You got that strong political feeling, even if I didn't understand it as a child. Like where strings were being pulled, and we haven't even gotten into politics yet. I'm getting that feel. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. I was trying to find my words anyway. I think the show is obviously very Star Wars in the sense of like kind of where the galaxy is at this point in time. And we're getting to see very different people and places in this show. We're going to be getting into some familiar stuff, obviously, but there's a lot of Star Warsy things that are happening. But at the same time, I also think it's totally not Star Wars in the best way. I think that, and that's not a knack. Like I love the show. I think the show is brilliant. I've been looking forward to this show more than I have, I think, anything Star Wars related since The Force Awakens.
You say that about every new show except for Bad Batch.
I haven't said that about any new show. I've not said that about any new show.
Roll the tape.
I think that this is the most non-Star Wars thing we've gotten in a very long time, and that's the best thing it possibly has going for it, in my opinion. I've said this before about a couple things, and nothing specific because I don't remember exactly what, but it almost feels like the story was written, they had characters, they had this outline, and then they just planted Star Wars over the top of it. It does not feel like it was specifically written for Star Wars, and I think that is playing to its strength. It's a big advantage for the show. I think the writing is incredible. It's so well written, and I see a lot of people complaining about the pace of the show, and I think the pace is very well done for the type of show it is.
I think
you're going to have to realize that this isn't a show where you're going to be getting space wizards and lightsabers and all that type of stuff. This is a show that is going to take its time with certain plot lines and take its time with conversations because they are very meaningful. And it's a gritty, serious, intense show that is a spy espionage thriller at its bones. And that's what spy espionage thrillers are. Like, of course, you think of a spy espionage thriller and you think of something like James Bond or whatever. That's not like, those aren't the prototypical spy espionage thrillers. There's a lot of different movies out there that capitalize on that genre a lot more. And that's what the show is kind of going after. It's a show that is very smart in its moves. And, every piece of dialogue that is said has impact, and it feels like everything that every character is doing has a consequence of what's going to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't get that with a lot of shows, and definitely in Star Wars either. Every move, every word spoken, anything, it feels like there is an instant consequence of that thing. And that is like the stress level of what this show is going for and the story that it's trying to tell. I mean, just in the first 10 minutes of the show, how it opened up. And again, we're going to be in this show, we're getting into spoilers on episodes. So Get used to it. But in the first 10 minutes of the show, we
Why
see
would you be
Cassie.
here if you're not?
Well, yeah, we see Cassie and Andor blast a hole through someone's face. Like, get used to it, people. Like, that's the type of show we're getting. That's not typically what Star Wars does. And they're showing us that they're, one, not afraid to go there, but two, a specific style and tone and feel has to be felt and told to be able to tell Cassian Andor's story. He does not come from an easy place. He comes from a very, very dark place, and they are showing all of that in its glory, and I think it's been brilliant so far, and I can't wait to see the next 9. I really can't.
Me too. I'm very excited. It's just so good. And I understand now why they went 3 episodes. Although I will say this, whoever is running Disney Plus, you are a moron, because if you're dropping, it was about an hour and 45 minutes. It was a movie, essentially, a decent movie length. This show needs to, if they're doing something that long, it should have dropped at like 9 p.m. at the latest. East Coast would have gotten at midnight, 9 p.m. West Coast. Instead, I'm seeing people on my Twitter feed that are just getting to watch it now because of work. Like, I get the whole like ruling the day, but unless those people are if you're working in normal, like I work about 8 to 4. Okay. That's majority of the day. You're probably just getting it to now. If you started it at 4, you still have another half hour. Like, I will never understand the logic of the midnight West Coast time. I mean, if you're on the East Coast, you didn't get it till 3 a.m. So I don't understand it. Little things like She-Hulk, fine. 30 minutes. Okay. It's a quick watch. But I don't understand it. I will never understand their thought process behind it. Like, yeah. Like, I have friends on my Twitter feed right now that are just saying, just finished watching Andor. It's great. Well, for you, yeah, on the opposite side of the world, yeah, you guys are great. But
Andy, you don't exist in this conversation.
Yeah, technically, did you start watching it on Thursday? Like, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, well, America's the one that's leading.
It's not America, Andy. It's America.
Yeah.
Anyways,
America. That's my little
talking about America here, not America.
Yeah, that's just my little thing. That's probably the only gripe I have out of this whole entire thing, is the fact that, like, people are literally watching it now. And so, or like me, I had to wake up 5 a.m. to watch it. Is it worth it? Absolutely. And honestly, it might be the most worth it thing I've watched, including Marvel, in the morning. Like, it was amazing. Anyways, that's not here or there. But going forward, like, I mean, it's not that crazy. It's not almost 2 hours.
No, I mean, just to quickly piggyback off, I don't think I've ever understood the midnight release in any form, whether it be Star Wars, Marvel, or any other streaming service that does it. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, I get it. It's released on the 21st. You're dropping it at midnight. But to me, and we've talked about it, I do think that television shows, the best TV show doing it right now is House of the Dragon. It's released at 6 o'clock on Sundays. Why can't it be 6 o'clock on a Wednesday night or something? Like, that's just what television is. That's just what television is to me.
Yeah.
But either way.
Yeah. That's literally the most negative thing I have about this whole entire thing is the time. And if that tells you anything, that's great. Like, if the thing I'm complaining about the most is the time the episode came out, by all means, like, because there was nothing I don't think I can think of anything that I did not like in this show so far.
Yeah. And just for everyone watching, if you guys have questions or comments or like, kind of plot points that you want us to discuss, throw them in the chat. We'll get to them and kind of guide our conversation a little bit. You are more than welcome to do that. We'll make sure to piggyback off all of those. But Brian, I want to ask, like we have 3 episodes to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things to talk about, maybe even some characters and stuff. Where do you want to start? What is the one thing that you would like us to start with when it comes to Andor in its first 3 episodes? It could be a character, it could be a plot point, it can be anything. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know if I want to hit this first, but like,
why not?
Star Wars is definitely not, this show especially is definitely doing some real world situations and putting it into their TV show. Like, I was talking to my coworker today that also watched it, and within these 3 episodes, like, they hit some like big, like,
Themes,
real world things, like literally uprooting non-native people and throwing them into just the well-established world and just like figure it out, which happens all the time. The one that really got me, that I went, oh, excuse me, is in episode 3, where the patrol people just killed a guy and they covered it up. He ran away. And I went, oh, okay.
What, you mean killed the guy or killed Tim?
Tim. That's what I meant. Tim, yes.
We should have known that he was going to die right away because his name was Tim.
Sure.
It's not a Star Wars name.
No.
Tim is not a Star Wars name.
That actually is very true. That is probably the least.
We should have realized almost immediately, oh, this guy's not making it out.
I think that literally might be the least Star Wars name out of any Star Wars name I've ever heard. Tim. But yeah, guy's literally unarmed, running at them. Stop, shoots him, dead. Give me your gun, run back to the ship and hide. I went,
well, not just hide, but he took off.
Yeah, well, and he exploded. But it was just like, okay, like that is something that happens in our world a lot, and Star Wars just kind of went there with it. I dig it though, because they're not afraid to throw some real world stuff into that. We're not playing around. We're not pussyfooting around some real issues with Star Wars. Like, and my coworker said the same thing. He was like, I caught that as well. I was like, interesting. They should be doing stuff like that. But yeah, fucking Tim.
No, I think yeah, I think the themes with this show are going to be very, very
real.
Prominent is the word that I want to use, because it has the opportunity to use a lot of themes that we don't typically see in big budget, blockbuster style television shows, or even movies for that matter. Tony Gilroy, him being a part of it and directing and kind of show running. Actually, it's funny, he didn't even direct the first 3 episodes. He's writing it, excuse me.
Yeah.
And he may direct some, but as far as writing goes, I think he is not afraid to implant real life things that are happening into a show like this, because there are not very many opportunities to be able to tell certain things. Mm-hmm. And if you get the chance, you're going to do what you can to tell them. It's a very realistic world, a realistic look at Star Wars. And I've seen, and look, there's going to be a lot of repeating from other shows and people online and stuff, but like the words that everyone is using are gritty, grounded, intense, real, raw. Like those are all of the words that this show is like throwing at you as you're watching with these episodes. And it's true. It's very, very true. We've never gotten a Star Wars show like this ever, a Star Wars movie like this ever. It's usually lightsabers, or First Order versus the Resistance, or the Rebel Alliance versus the Empire. And obviously, look, I know that it's getting there because Cassian is a big part of the Rebel Alliance at some point, but it's such a ground level look at Star Wars in a small but big way. It's a very small personal story right now. And eventually we're going to get to a point where it becomes much bigger, where it becomes much, much bigger. But it's a very, very small look at what Star Wars can do with storytelling. I mean, the first 3 episodes took place in one town. Like it took place in one town, and we hardly saw ships being used. Like, obviously they're in the background, or we saw them used here and there. But it was pretty much in one single town for the first, what you said, 2 hours. It's basically equals 2 hours of Andor.
The only time we saw anywhere other was, well, no.
Yeah, it was the beginning, and then Stellan Skarsgard's character coming into the town, essentially, is what we saw.
And
the police, the cops, whatever you want to call them.
No. Kenari for the quick little
bit. Okay, Kenari. So, but again, like, there's still very minimal moments that, in the first 3 episodes anyway, that make us think that it's Star Wars. Like, we took place inside a town with real people, right? We weren't using like CGI or anything. Hard mine workers. They're not technically mine workers, but they were, heavy equipment. They're at a scrap planet. They're doing all kinds of scrap work. It's such a small look at Star Wars, but it's still like, I don't remember, or I can't off the top of my head think of something that's just as intense or serious or like kind of anxiety driven as much as Andor has been so far. There's been a lot of moments that, whether it be the conversation with Andor and Stellan Skarsgard's character inside the warehouse, or the moment with Tim and is it Bex? Bix? Bick? It's Bick. Or is it Bex?
Bex?
I think it's Bex. I could be wrong, but I think it's Bex.
I think it's Bex. Yeah.
And like that moment, like there's so many of these moments that you're kind of like tensing up because you're wondering what's going to happen. And you like, and it comes down to like even the smallest of moments of where Cassian and Stellan Skarsgard's character were having just a conversation, and you're like,
Andy, we don't have Bix. I only know
Bix. It's Bix, not Bex. Bix. Okay, thank you, Bix.
Andy, the only reason I know that is because I lived with an Australian, and otherwise we would have no idea what Wheat Bix is.
Yes, Andy, it is just an Aussie thing. But anyway, and what I was just getting at is like, so far the writing has been so good that it has not only captured the tone of the story of what it's supposed to be. A lot of that obviously has to do with filmmaking side of it all, but the writing plays a major part, and it's the part that starts it all.
Yeah,
it's not only starting or playing to the tone, but it's creating this like this. I guess this is a different world that we haven't seen from Star Wars before. That is almost blowing our mind. That because it's so different, it's so new, it's so unique. And we're just like so enthralled by it, even though we know and can think like, okay, of course this has happened before. We just haven't seen it. And it's shocking to think to an extent that we've never seen this in all of Star Wars. That we've never seen something like this before. It gets me so excited for like the next 9 episodes, just because, well, like I said,
not even 9. There's going to be 24. Like,
well, yeah, for season 2, of course, duh. But
I mean, it's like, I'm thinking like, if this is just 3 of the 24, because I remember,
and it's not even the heart of the story right now either. It's like we're not even to the thick of him being introduced to what the rebellion is. Like this was like, think of it this way: all of this happened because of a jealous boyfriend.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's why all of this happened. This wasn't X-Wings attacking a spaceship, or like doing a heist run for a Quaxium, or anything like that.
Like, it did happen because of a murder.
No, I get that, but like ultimately, yes, but Cassian was only found because Tim Tam decided to rat.
Yeah,
Like,
that's fair. That's fair.
it only happened because of a jealous boyfriend not wanting his girl to be taken from him.
Yeah.
Like, we're not even touching the rebellion side of it all. That's crazy to think about, is that this intense of a story was told because a boyfriend got a little too jelly.
And murder.
I'm telling you, if Tim Tam didn't rat, the murder wouldn't have existed. It wouldn't have mattered.
So then let's just go, since we're talking about the murder part.
I love, by the way, that I keep calling him Tim Tam. It's so great.
Tim Tam.
So Andy.
He literally was jealous over nothing and he died. That's true. That is true. You can't compare. Still not sure how he died. I mean, just a blunt force to the back of the
Who?
The main guy, the one that died. He's not breathing. That guy.
Yeah, I think he probably just hit the wall or something. Like, it just happened.
Yeah, that was a nice shot to the head. But
one small little turn to like the temple or something, that dude's gone.
Yeah, that's fair. I cannot stand it in a good, like, not personally, but just like because of the story, like kind of like you can't stand Joffrey in Game of Thrones types. Can't stand. Crap, what are they called? The cop people. I'm drawing.
Yeah, I need clarification on their names.
I saw Thomas tweet.
Guys in blue, the Nova Corps.
Please, thank you. They are literally.
What are the name of the Nova Corps?
I know I saw it.
They're a bad version of the Nova Corps, obviously. I've gotten their name mixed up a couple times.
But they are so effing annoying. The corporate tactical forces.
Okay. The Corpos. Corpos is
Yes,
what they've been calling them. Thank you. The Corpos. That's right. Thank you, Andy.
They are literally mall cops that didn't get into the academy. That is literally how I picture them, where they're just like, you weren't good enough to be a policeman, so you took the next best thing you could to be a policeman, and you got a mall cop security job. And there's always, no matter what job it is, there's always that one annoying person that, like, everyone's here, I'm going to be the best, and this is the morally right thing to do. And that's what the Cyril character is. Drives me nuts because I think I'm relating it to real things. And so, like, it's just
probably
like the whole entire time. And then you got the guy that I swear was Mike Myers.
The guy that came in
the bigger guy. Curtis called him Fat Bastard from Austin Powers. But
he was great though. I thought he killed.
Oh, he was great. He was annoying.
I thought he was so great.
Yeah, he was. But yeah, they're all just so freaking annoying and just like in a like character that you want to hate type way.
Well, you can just tell that, like, even like when they came to, is the planet called Ferrix, right?
The main planet?
Yeah, the one where they're
planet.
on. Where they're on. Ferrix?
I believe it's called
so. Ferrix. When they're on Fex. Fest. No, I don't.
Oh, Ferrix.
It's Ferrix. It is Ferrix. Fest is the cover that Andor said he was from.
Oh, that's right. That's
the planet that they said that he was from, but he's not really from there. Right. It's Ferrix, yeah. So when they're on Ferrix, you can tell when they're kind of running around doing their thing, they look like amateurs. They don't look like anything super special.
They're mall
yeah, in that moment where Tim Tam gets shot, it's that moment of a realization, like, oh, was I supposed to shoot that guy? And then, of course, the guy that steps up says, "Hey, get out of here, go away, take your gun." Yeah. So they're a very interesting group of people. You can tell some people take a little bit more serious than others, being the Cyril, the main guy that we meet, that we kind of follow, see everything through his eyes, essentially, as far as the corpos go. It's interesting. I think it's a great start it's a great introduction to, like, foe as I put up air quotes, for Andor to face in the first couple of episodes as we kind of get reintroduced to him, because we know Andor, but we know Andor 5 years later. We don't know this Andor.
Yeah.
He's a very, very different character from when we knew him.
I mean, the Empire's not even in play yet.
Yeah, like it's you should go in like thinking you don't know a single thing about anybody, because Andor, he's significantly different. And I thought it was a great first like foe that Andor had to kind of like come up against. I don't know how they fit into like future stuff, because obviously Andor's now kind of being recruited into the rebellion. Luthen has kind of brought him along. They're on the ship together. It's the last time we see them, and I imagine they're going to some kind of rebellion hideout or meetup or something to get off the radar, to kind of go off the grid a little bit. And I don't know how the corpos follow. If it's just the one corpo, if Cyril is the only one that follows, and it maybe like catapults him into joining the Empire somehow. But
I think he's gonna go.
I think he's gonna essentially go like AWOL.
I think
like ditch the corpos and do his own thing.
He'll go AWOL, ditching the corpos, but he's going to go rat to an Empire person. I think it's going to be that blonde lady that we see in the trailer a lot.
Who her character name is Deidre Miro. I
think I don't know what her status is going to be. Let's just like a governor of a sector. I don't know. But he's going to be like, hey, there's some of this going down. I think it's part of your rebellion or whatever. And then eventually they'll find each other at some point.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
I think logic. I mean, I don't see how Cyril would just find them without.
They spent too much time on him for him just to disappear.
Exactly. I think it would not make sense to me personally if Cyril just, I found him on this planet and I'm going after him. However, it could make sense to me if he takes this to someone in the Empire who their ear listens, catches his ear a little bit, and then like they then are trying to find the rebellion. I think because there was a blatant like there's not one, there's two, like, and I think that is going to be the thing that like catapults, like there's a thing going on, there's a cell where they're going to spin it to be bigger than it already is.
Well, I think at this point, the rebellion, or even if they're calling themselves the rebellion, they're definitely on the Empire's radar at this point. Like, it kind of just makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, like it definitely makes sense that they're on some sort of cell, or the rebellion in general is on the Empire's radar, because we see it in Rebels. Like they're kicking and doing their own thing in Rebels for quite a while.
Yeah.
And this kind of takes place in a very similar timeline. Not exact, but similar. Yeah, so seeing Cyril's journey, I just want to say Cyril is what I want to say.
Well, I mean,
Cyril's
named
journey,
everyone out foods, so
yeah. Seeing Cyril's journey is going to be very interesting. I'm very curious on where he ends up. Can we talk about? I want to talk about two things, Brian, and we can start with one at a time. But I love Bix. I love her. I think that she is such a great addition to Star Wars in general. You know, not only is she just a great character, but they're putting her in this kind of like almost leadership role. You know, like we see throughout the 3 episodes that she's kind of the one that's like pushing things forward with what feels like some kind of black market underground thing that they're doing there on Ferrix. And yeah, I think the character is so cool. I would love to see her. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I would love to see her join Cassian on his journey to be a rebel. I don't know if that'll happen, but I hope we see more of her every episode. I hope her story doesn't get cut short because I think she's a great addition and not necessarily a co-lead, but she's a very strong supporting character right now in this show.
The way they ended it with her just kind of getting messed up and then just like running away, like it doesn't strike me as like that's the last we're going to see of her for sure. Like it seemed very open-ended, especially like we know some of the most pissed off, well, not most, like almost every single person like that has a story of in the rebellion, like one big thing happened that pissed them off to where they ended up joining or being a part of a cause. Hers seems to be the just outright blatant murder of Tim. Like, Grant, did he
deserved it.
I mean, yeah.
He deserved it. Come on, just say it. Just say it.
Yeah.
He deserved it.
Was it cold-blooded how they just shot him while he was unarmed running down the street? Yeah, absolutely.
The dude should not have gone charging into a group of weapon-hungry people.
No. But at the same time, like, the guy didn't need to shoot him.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't need to shoot him. I would assume that is going to be her breaking point, if you will, where it's like, this is corrupt, blah, blah, blah. Like everyone seems to have in Star Wars that's in the rebellion a breaking point, the thing that tipped them over the edge to joining the rebellion or being a part of this side because of some injustice. Hers will be the downright just shooting him unarmed.
Not just that, but we also have to keep in mind she is the reason that Luthen came to Ferrix.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
like she already had, and whether or not she knew, like maybe she knew, I don't know, but or maybe she's even a part of it and we don't know, is she had a rebellion connection.
I mean, like, he is her rebellion connection.
She's clearly working for the rebels without possibly knowing that she's working with the rebels. Or just because it hasn't been fleshed out yet, she's actually a rebel in disguise, like undercover, like just kind of hiding out, doing her own thing. Like we don't know. She's clearly doing things. Like we saw her go up in that tower, right? You know,
dude, that was sick.
Like she's doing things that scream rebel. Like they just scream rebel.
Or at least an insurgent type of.
Yeah, and like, I would love to see. Excuse me. I would love to see her journey continue into a path of like joining the rebellion, like officially, if she hasn't already. And I also just love Adria Arjona. Like I think she is such a strong actress that does not get recognized enough. She was in that awful, just like terribly awful Morbius film. Nothing that she did wrong. She just, she got casted in a movie.
That's where I recognize.
Yeah, she's from Morbius, but she's in a lot of stuff. She's in. Let me pull her up.
Well, she's actually in a lot of stuff. Like 4 or 5 days ago, so that makes sense why she looked so familiar.
She's in that movie Six Underground with Ryan Reynolds on Netflix. She's one of the 6 people. And then she was in the Father of the Bride remake. And then she was also in Triple Frontier on Netflix. And then in that Wizard of Oz show Emerald City back in 2017.
No, it was Morbius that.
Yeah, she definitely is someone who can be very, very prominent on screen, but I think this is the role that's going to catapult her. I think she's going to catch a lot of eyes in this show, and I hope her story is not cut short. I hope to see her all 9 episodes. I do. I want to see her all 9 episodes. So I'm looking forward to seeing what she does next. But let's talk about my dude, Stellan Skarsgård.
Oh, this guy. Tell me why I immediately thought you were going to go to B2 emo.
No. We can talk about him next. Stellan Skarsgård is the best thing to be added to Star Wars in years. I love this dude.
He fits perfectly.
He is such a perfect fit for the type of role that he's playing. I also love that he says Cassian Andor. Like it's just so great.
Cassian
It's just his voice is so
the way
mesmerizing.
he's just said it.
His voice is so mesmerizing.
Cassian
But yeah, the role that he plays is fantastic, and I'm excited to see what his relationship is like with Cassian. I'm very curious if all of the things that we learned in Rogue One, if Luthen is essentially his mentor. If Cassian learns from Luthen, and then once we watch Rogue One again, because we saw that scene with Cyril where he goes, kill him, can't keep him alive, kill him.
Well, so
right, and what's Andor doing in Rogue One? He's literally going around murking fools.
I think so. One theme that you're hitting on right now that I was gonna bring up is it very much seemed like it started out like, oh my god, I killed one person, or killed two people. It's like, oh my god, I killed these people. What am I gonna do? Like, I'm a horrible person. Blah 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 blah. Like, I took a life. Blah blah blah. You meet him, and immediately it's like, this is war. Lives are expendable, and that if you've watched Rogue One, you know Cassian is just like
the first time we meet Cassian, he kills Tivik.
Exactly. Like people just
shoots him in the back.
Easy. So like that's something I immediately picked up on was like, okay, they made it like because he was covering his tracks. So please help me, blah, 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 blah. And then immediately, like once he met him, it was just like, shoot him, dead. Explosion. Do you have any more of those charges? Let's blow them up. Like it immediately went out the window. So yes, I definitely think what you just said of like this mentor kind of like he's going to get hardened in the world of war because of this guy.
And we already got rule number one and number two. Do you remember what they are, Brian?
Kill or be killed? No, I don't remember. I literally have no idea. Don't talk about Fight Club?
Rule, basically. Don't talk about the rebellion. First rule about the rebellion is don't talk about the rebellion.
Yeah.
Rule number one is don't carry a transmitter. That can be tracked.
Yes.
And rule number two is always get your exit on your entrance.
Yep.
I'm telling you, Stellan Skarsgard is the man.
Yeah. He's so good. He was born in the Star Wars world. He was born to play this type of character. Mm-hmm. Like no force, no bad guy with connections to the Empire. No, he's a hardened rebellion asshole. Like
just like he was meant to play Selvig in the MCU.
I could beg to differ on that one.
You don't like Selvig?
I think he could have been used as a better character, but
Selvig was used. I mean, dude, he was like the catapult of the Avengers movie.
Yeah, but anyone could have played. I mean, he didn't do anything crazy like for as big as this actor is. No, this like if roles were made for certain people, like this one, it almost feels like, okay, here's Stellan Skarsgård, make him a perfect role and we'll work around him. Not like, hey, we made this character, who can we find? It almost felt like it was like, here's him, let's make the perfect role for him. And this is literally the perfect role for him. I don't think I could see him as anything else other than this like gritty, murderous a-hole. Like it's perfect. And from what we know of how Andor is in Rogue One, it fits. Like I don't even see more. I'm like, yep, I understand. Like it makes sense.
I agree. Question from Gordon here. Do you think Luthen will survive until the end?
No. I'm starting to think Andor's going to be the one that kills him.
You think?
I mean, can you imagine?
I don't think Andor's going to kill him. I think he'll be.
I'm just thinking like in the like shock factor of like betray, like something maybe like he just Like
It'd be too solo-y for me.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
Solo kills Beckett. Like
that's true. Yeah.
Obviously, like never say never, but that'd be very solo-ish. Obviously,
I just don't see like the Empire. I would be kind of disappointed if the Empire takes him out. I don't know.
I mean, why would you be disappointed? It's kind of what happens to a lot of people.
Like, I would like to see like if he's gonna go out, I need to see like something like I'm just like, damn. I don't want to see like go, I'll protect you. Like, I want to see like, and it's just kind of like we've already seen how Rogue One ends. They all die in a blaze of glory. Like, I don't want to see him die in a blaze of glory. I like something that would shock me. Like, I mean, I feel like it's kind of hard to imagine that Stellan Skarsgard's character would just be roaming around after this. Like, he seems like he's full into the rebellion, and if the like a synonymous like Mon Mothma rebellion, like you associate immediately like that, and I feel like he's going to be one of those characters that you're going to immediately now associate with the rebellion, and it doesn't make sense to me that he wouldn't be anything forward. Like what? So I think he's going to bite the bullet at some point.
I think so too. I don't think we'll see him in season 2.
You think he's going to die in season 1?
Mm-hmm.
I see. I think he makes it to season 2.
Because what we've been told about season 2 is that it's 12 episodes, and every 3 episodes is essentially a 1-year arc. It's 1 year, jumps a year, etc., etc. So there's 4 years told in that time frame, which makes me believe that with this one telling an expansive story that can take place in a certain amount of time, there's more than likely the chance of him dying now than it would be later, because it wouldn't be as impactful in just a 3-episode arc. I could be wrong. I could very well be wrong. And I don't want to see him go. Trust me, because I love the dude. I think right now he's my favorite part of the series. Like, he's legitimately my favorite part of the series right now.
No, I don't disagree.
And I'm really excited to see what happens to him next. I do want to get to a couple things in the comments, because John Pedro asked, and then Andy kind of picked back up on it. John Pedro asked, Andor becomes Fulcrum, right? Now, I don't believe he's ever an official Fulcrum, but he works for a Fulcrum. And Andy, I know that you're big on this, so correct us if we're wrong. He never actually becomes like a title Fulcrum. And I haven't read every single book out there, but I know of the 2 Fulcrums that we know of are Bail Organa and Ahsoka. I don't know of any other Fulcrums personally. I'm not caught up on all the books, comics, etc. So there might have been more announced. Brian, do you have any other thoughts on that?
I mean, I have a feeling they're just going to kind of be like, he was a Fulcrum, just like kind of throw it in somehow at the end. But
Callus was one too. Yes, duh.
Yeah.
And Rebels. Yes. Obviously. Yes. Thank you.
I think they're going to find a way to like make him one, but it's not going to be as like prominent as the 3 that we had before. She's ready for you to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be. Well, no. I was going to say I don't think he's going to be as namesake as the other ones, but he definitely would be by the end of this. I don't know.
I mean, time will tell. And the weird thing is if they were to ever drop the Fulcrum name in the show, only the hardcore people would know what it is. It's not something that's known.
You have to like watch.
You would have to do a full explanation of what Fulcrum means and like what it is. And because even in Rogue One, like we didn't know that Bail Organa. It was never explained that Bail Organa was a Fulcrum in that movie, but we knew because he was obviously a part of the Senate, working for the rebellion. Like,
you'd have to be an animated watcher, not a casual watcher.
Yeah. Gordon again here. Do you think we might get Ahsoka eventually? No, she's not showing up in this. Absolutely.
No one from any of the new stuff is going to be in this.
Yeah.
This is as real.
You're not. This is my hope. I hope we don't get a single lightsaber.
No, I don't want one either.
I hope we don't see anything that's absolutely pure Star Wars. I want exactly what these first 3 episodes have been showing.
I think the biggest,
that's what I hope.
The biggest like thing, maybe like a name drop.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably where your big, like, you're not gonna get freaking Ahsoka showing up. You're not gonna get a lightsaber or stuff. You may get, I think the most logical thing would be something along the lines of like, my daughter Leia is on top of it. Something along those lines, like where it's like you might get like a name drop, or where you're like maybe a scene where like Bale is saying something where it's like, yeah, I remember Chancellor Palpatine and was very close with a Jedi named Anakin Skywalker. Like something like that, where you're just like, oh shit, like where you catch like that, but it's not gonna be like a character showing up.
I hope we get none of that.
You don't want I mean, it makes sense to me, like hearing like him be like, my daughter Leia's in the Junior Senators or something like that. Something like that.
Who says Bail Organa is going to be in this though?
He's for sure going to be in this.
I mean, maybe I don't know if it's been confirmed out there. It might be.
Now, I would love for us nerds like to get like a name drop of like Ransom Casterfo. Like, give me that. I'll
Ransom's a long ways off. It's a long ways off.
I'm just saying something like that. Like, if they want to drop like a name from a book or something like that, like one of those type of characters, like, sure, give me one of those. That's not going to change the outcome of my story. Like Luke Skywalker showing up would in something like that type of, I don't need the flash and awe of like, oh, this character just showed up, like just to show up.
Yeah.
But like, if they want to throw like Palps on like a hologram from a Senate thing, like, okay, like that I can deal with, but it needs to make sense. It doesn't need to just be Ahsoka or like something like that. Darth Vader, like, no, I don't need that. I'm good. Keep this grounded, revolving around these characters.
Yeah, keep it where it's at. It's been doing great things so far, so just keep it where it's at.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind a name drop though.
All right, Brian. Last thing that we could talk about before we head out of here is the flashbacks. Big part of this show so far.
Talk about little B2 emo.
Oh, sorry. We can talk about it. Let's talk about B2 emo. Let's talk about B2 emo.
He is emo.
B2 emo is one of the most unique droids we've ever gotten in Star Wars.
He got peed on.
He did. But he acted as a fire hydrant. That's his own fault.
He looks like a fire.
He does look like a fire hydrant, just a beefed up version. He speaks basic, which I think is a really cool addition to the droid. We only obviously get the translator droids that do that, protocol droids, but he also has this very interesting relationship with Cassian, as Cassian does have with a lot of droids. Obviously, we know his relationship with K2 in Rogue One, which we'll get to in season 2, I believe. Yeah, I mean, what a great little addition. I love the conversation between him and Cassian, where Cassian's trying to tell him to lie. And
droids don't understand.
Yeah,
they're just too good-hearted.
Yeah. No, I think B2 emo is definitely an incredible addition to the Star Wars droid world. And I can't wait to see more from him. I hope we get a lot more of him, because right now, obviously, Cassian's leaving and he's left on the planet. So I do hope we get to see more of him. So
I think he will. I think he might honestly be in more flashbacks. Like,
I
I
think
think
so
he's going to
too.
be a flashback person
Mhm.
because I think you're going to get a lot of. I mean, we saw when Cassian got, which we can segue into, when he got picked up off of his own planet. He B2 was there when he was in the ship and he was all sparkly, shiny, new.
Mhm.
So I think he because it. I don't know about you, but it seemed like we weren't going to probably see his adopted mother anymore. Like that might be it. And it just kind of like goes from there. Like the flashbacks like that, those two characters will probably be more flashbacky than going forward. Do you think we'll go back to that planet?
I think there's a chance. It depends on where Bix is. It depends on where she is in the storyline, if she's leaving the planet or not. As far as Cassian's story, I don't think Cassian's ever going back. It really just depends on how much they're going to tell a story with Bix. I do think that she'll probably leave the planet or at least lay low elsewhere for a little while.
His
But
adopted mother?
no, Bix.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. But I do think that as far as the adopted mother goes, which is Marva,
Marva, yeah.
it's
Marva.
Marva,
Yeah.
who is played by Fiona Shaw, and she is great
Mm-hmm.
as Marva. I think that what you're saying about her being a prominent source for the flashbacks is probably true. I hope we get flashbacks every episode. So far I'm really digging the flashbacks. I think it's a very interesting idea, and what an incredibly interesting backstory to tell for Cassian. It's a like he comes from this very interesting world that we have no idea about. Like there's no adults around. They don't speak basic. They speak a different language. It's a very primitive species.
Yeah, there does not seem to be. It seems like a very
Yeah,
what's the term?
primitive.
Yeah, primitive. Like there's no techno. Like they were like in awe of that ship crashing into their planet.
Yeah. No, it's I'm extremely interested in that. I'm a little
There
interested
was
in where
also
they're
like
going.
a little bit of like Canary, like kind of almost like
Yeah, well, I'm interested. Obviously, we heard that there was a mining disaster, and we get a shot of the mine in the flashback of kind of what it looked like. I'm interested if we ever go back to Canary, because he's obviously gone, right? He left. He's with Marva. Um, they took him. He was knocked out cold, and she didn't want to leave him there. And it almost feels like, because at the beginning of the episode, Cassian was looking for his sister, which now we kind of know that it's his legit sister. It's not some agent or something.
yeah.
He's actually looking for his real sister. And yeah, I mean, it's all interesting. I would love to go back to Canary because it's
It makes
a
sense.
very unique, intriguing world. But now he's with Marva, and like that story, obviously, to where he is now, it might be a little bit more important. So
I mean, she literally got abandoned on
yeah,
the planet.
Mhm.
Not to her choice. I mean, it's not like Cassie had a choice, which is probably not, obviously not going to even be his name probably by the end of this. I think there's 100% chance that you will be stepping back on that planet at some point. Canary.
Do you think he steps back? He steps back as an adult.
100%.
You
100%.
do?
Oh yeah. I don't think. Yeah, I don't know for what reason, because the sister is clearly not on the planet anymore. Like she got off. I think that they'll meet off planet. Yeah, but I don't. I think you will step back on that planet, even for a second, something quick.
I think so too. I mean, I think Canary is a very interesting idea. And I think it has a lot of possibilities. What an interesting way to tell a story of like a primitive human species, essentially, that gets like all of this. Well, the planet is called Kanar, but the species is called Kanari.
Yeah.
That's why we keep saying Kanari. Sorry, Gordon. Yes, you're right. It's called Kanar, but we're saying Kanari. We're talking about them specifically. I love the idea of like a species being awoken to a new world in the sense of like technology and everything. And
it's not. It is extremely rare that the humans are the ones that are.
Well, I think there's a
uncivilized.
This isn't a spoiler because it was the opening scene of the official trailer that we got a few months ago, but there's a scene of what looks like Kanar and a Star Destroyer comes flying over the top of them. So it looks like we're going to be going back there in some capacity. So yeah, I'm interested. I'm very intrigued. Look, the show in general has been fantastic so far. 3 episodes, they're awesome. I'm probably going to watch them at some point over the next week.
I think I'm going to rewatch it again after we get done.
Yeah, it definitely it's definitely a great start to this series. We have 9 episodes left. Super excited that they're going this far into it.
And
taking the time to tell. It is Kanari? Okay, cool. Cool. Taking the time to tell the story of Cassion and everything that's involved with him. He has a really interesting backstory. And John Pedro, I hope to God his sister's not Cara Dune. No.
Who? Wait, what?
He said maybe his sister is Cara Dune. No.
His sister.
Andy, goodness. Oh, Andy.
That's fair. I think his sister is going to end up being someone. I think someone said it. Probably in the Empire. Samir. That would be a freaking twist. What are you going to do? Like, you left me. I could absolutely see that. You left me. What else was I supposed to do? Like, I needed a way to get off. And how many times have we seen? I mean, look at Han. He needed a way to get off, so he joined the Empire. I could absolutely see it. You left me. I needed a way to get off the planet. This was my way out. I could absolutely see that being the story. Although she was potentially a hooker, so that might not be.
We don't know if they were hooking, Brian.
They literally said a brothel.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. All right. Before we get out of here, we do have a Streamlabs sent here by one Theral Unfiction. Thank you, Theral, so much. He said, besides the Blade Runner's theme, Andor is basically a 1939 French man finds decoder box to be rescued by older British man from Axis forces. Notice 2 aliens nervously sit in the back of bus due to fear. Is Andor tribe like Incans with blowguns? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they're definitely
like any primitive species for sure.
They're definitely primitive. I mean, they were going up against people with a literal ship that flies through space, and they killed them with blow darts.
For sure. No, I agree. All right, Brian, any final thoughts before we wrap up here?
I'm very excited for the show. This is going to be such a good show. And I feel like this is a show that can be interpreted a lot of different ways by a lot of different people. So I think that it's going to be very interesting, and I'm very excited to hear what other people have to say about it. And like I said, I haven't seen one person on Twitter say a negative word so far.
Agreed.
At least on my threads. Like, I haven't even seen a retweet of someone being like, this guy's an idiot. Like, nothing. It's been pretty positive all the way around. And I think if that's how we're starting it off, then I'm excited. I think Ray's excited too.
They're both very excited. Kylo's breathing down my neck right here. Hi, Bubba. All right, everybody. That's going to wrap up today's Andor review. Thank you so much for joining us. That is the first episode of the Fandalorian Club. We are back reviewing Andor. And we'll be here for the next 8 weeks, excuse me. Being that we reviewed the first 3. No. 1, 2, 3. No, 9 weeks.
9.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
9 weeks. So it's 10 total weeks. I apologize. Hope everyone is doing great out there, staying safe, all that good stuff. And he says there were some doofuses in the Star Wars Explained chat, but otherwise, yeah, people are loving it. There's always doofuses.
This thing is going till November 23rd.
Loving it. You're going to see us here every Wednesday. Obviously, with She-Hulk on Thursdays. We try to keep Fridays open for ourselves, and then the boys are doing Rings of Power on Saturdays. We'll be here on Wednesdays. It'll be a lot easier now that there's only one episode to watch.
Thank you.
We can dive into stuff a lot more now. Shows might end up being a little shorter, not so much the coverage, but we'll be here on Wednesdays covering it. We're hoping to get Gio and Jacob on as well. I know that they definitely want to talk it, and then we're looking to get some guests, so you could possibly seeing some new faces on the channel thanks to Andor. So for Brian, for myself, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Stay tuned for She-Hulk tomorrow and Rings of Power on Saturday. But until then, I'll catch you guys next time.